Described as a modern folktale, South of Midnight is Compulsion Games' latest fever dream set in the American Deep South. You are Hazel, a young woman living life in the small southern town of Prospero with her mom, Lacey. There's some other complicated family drama going on behind the scenes, but that is for you to discover. Anyway, a nasty hurricane rips through Prospero, sweeping Hazel's house downriver with Lacey tragically still inside. Devastated but determined to find her mom, Hazel awakens as a weaver and begins to see and experience things that would give LSD a run for its money. Being a weaver is complicated, but the TLDR is as a weaver, Hazel needs to witness the trauma residents have endured so she can heal their deep-rooted pain and, in most cases, stop them from terrorizing the countryside and killing people. Compulsion does not hold back when it comes to depicting this trauma, so I advise you to take their trigger warnings seriously. You will see a lot of child neglect and abuse, parent and child loss, and other pretty dark themes. And man, I'm so conflicted about South of Midnight's story, because on one hand, I love that we have Hazel as a protagonist, I love the Deep South setting, and the otherworldly creatures are just so freaking cool. But I had hoped the story would center more around Hazel and her life, her experiences, struggles, and her growth, but sadly, we never really get to know her on a deep level because the narrative tends to focus on the lives of everyone around her instead. And it's not just Hazel that got the narrative shaft. Some of the rad mystical beings we've seen teased throughout the marketing were so underutilized. Like Shaken Bones, who you may remember from the reveal trailer, his in-game cameo was limited to just a few brief moments with little fanfare, and I was really sad about it. But even still, I couldn't help but fall for the world Compulsion Games has built. The beautiful, almost haunting Deep South setting was so unique and refreshing, always keeping me excited about wherever the game was going to take me next, and for the creatures I knew I was going to meet. And yeah, you have these creatures, these bizarre, eerie, sometimes cutish gothic creatures that inhabit this world. They're so weird that I want plushies. One of the coolest things Compulsion did in this game is they created custom songs for each creature and each creature's level that grows and changes and evolves as you learn more about the trauma that creature is facing. It's such an impactful method of storytelling and really lent itself to the emotional turmoil I felt while playing this game, so thank you. South of Midnight's core gameplay is mostly split between traversal and combat with a little side of exploration. There's quite a bit of platforming here, and I often found myself just getting into a comfortable groove, zoning out a bit as I double jumped, ran along walls, glided across ravines, and zipped amongst the trees. Eventually, you'll come across combat arenas, fight these enemies called haints, you'll witness some trauma, and repeat until you've seen enough trauma to heal that chapter's creature. This can and will get repetitive, but thankfully there are some much needed quiet moments where the focus is just exploration and taking in the environmental storytelling. You're gonna want to venture off the beaten path in search of 3 main collectibles. You have floofs, also known as skill points, for upgrading Hazel's abilities. There are tons of documents hidden throughout the game that give some insight into the world around you, and sometimes levels have hidden health crystals that will increase your maximum health. But when it comes to combat, I'm just gonna say it, South of Midnight would have been just as enjoyable, probably even more so, if combat had been removed entirely. Mechanically, it stops evolving too early, the arenas themselves have little to no variation, and while the enemies are interesting from a narrative perspective, they feel soulless and vacant on the battlefield. Combat quickly becomes formulaic and predictable, and for me, did nothing but disrupt the flow of the game. The boss fights, on the other hand, were way more engaging, but even those suffered from repetitive loops. Funny enough, there is an option in the menu to skip combat entirely, so try out one of the many difficulty levels, and if none of those click with you, just opt to skip it. But at the end of the day, South of Midnight enchanted me with its depiction of the American Deep South. While I still wish I could have gotten to know Hazel on a more personal level and that certain creatures had a bigger spotlight, the gorgeous environments, charming NPCs, and clever soundtrack elevated the experience even when certain aspects threatened to bring it down. I appreciate that a game as unique as South of Midnight exists, and I really hope this isn't the last we see of Hazel.